Ah, yes, the Steam Machine. Small form factor gaming PC that's more console than computer. And this is Valve's second attempt at a gaming PC intended to be used as a console, which was announced last week for early release of 2026, along with the Steam Frame, Valve's latest entry in the VR space, and the Steam Controller, their new custom controller. But in this video, we're going to focus on the Steam Machine's announcement or reveal, being that this could potentially disrupt not only the console market, but the potential pre-built gaming PC space and community and just system integrators altogether. So starting with the specs, initially, the Steam Machine is going to release with a custom OS dedicated to the Steam OS, if you will, which isn't widely used, I imagine. I don't really use it either, along with big picture mode, but it's going to come with a custom OS, but you will have the opportunity to install your own OS applications, software, what have you. The Steam Machine does look to be a traditional gaming PC, but starting with its core specs, it looks like it's going to come with an AM5/Zen 4 Ryzen 5 7600 with a 4.8 gigahertz boost, and a cut down version of the RDNA 3 RX 7600 with 20 ACUs and a 2.4 gigahertz sustained clock speed. So essentially the Steam Machine is going to come with a 6-core 12-thread, or at least a cut down version 6-core 12-thread of the 7600, and the same thing with the RX 7600, because the system will have 16 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, which is pretty interesting, being that DDR5, even for a 16 gigabyte kit, is still relatively high at the moment, along with 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 video RAM. So that's, again, more than likely a slimmed down or cut down version of a 7600, which AMD promises 4K gaming with the use of FSR. That's AMD's Fidelity Super Resolution, which is a double caveat there because the game has to also support FSR in order for gamers to take advantage of it, which seems to be the Steam Machine's core selling point. I mean, if the Steam Machine could really run games at 4K 60 FPS with that discrete semi-custom AMD CPU and GPU combination, then it's hard to imagine that it's going to be able to do that at a price point of under 500 USD, even under 600 USD, being that I foresee the PS6 and the next generation of Xboxes offering two variants as well, one like on the low end and then one on the high end, digital disc maybe even. And so if Valve are promising these numbers, and they do remain to be true, and the core promise there being that the Steam Machine will be able to accomplish this using FSR, again, a technology not widely available in many games, but it's hard to imagine that it'll be able to do this at an affordable price point, at anything under 600 to 700 USD. The Steam Machine is gearing up to compete with the next generation of consoles, the current Nintendo Switch 2, and even possibly the Switch 2 OLED that I do imagine will come out around the holiday season of 2026. So it looks like the Steam Machine will come with two different versions. There'll be two different versions of the Steam Machine. One will come with a 512 gigabyte variant and a 2 terabyte variant, with both supporting expandable slots for high-speed micro SD cards. So that's going to add to the cost, which we'll get to that in a second. But that's going to add to the cost regardless of the console you're going with. I mean, you might be in a better position going with the 2 gigabyte variant, but 512 gigabytes just simply won't get it done here in 2025. That's maybe 2 or 3 really popular, really large games that you'll be able to install. So you're definitely going to have that extra cost, about $50 to $60 for a good quality micro SD card that you will have to factor in with the purchase of your Steam Machine, should one possibly go with the 512 gigabyte variant. I don't recommend it, but it is nice to have that option to expand your storage solution, similar to what you can do with the Steam Deck and even the Asus ROG Ally. On top of that small form factor or low profile, the Steam Machine is also going to come with a built-in power supply, so there won't be the need for that extra large brick that, say, comes along the lines of high performance gaming laptops, if you will. They typically have a large brick. It makes it cumbersome and really inhibits its portability. So it's going to come with a built-in power supply unit, and it really has a nice LED strip with 17 individually addressable RGB LEDs for system status and custability. That's pretty cool, kind of like the PS5 and Xbox, I imagine, or more so the PS5, I know for sure. You'll have subtle indicators to let you know if the system's updating or what have you. So that's really neat to have that indicator when the Steam machine will be off. It says small touch, but it's nice. It's nice for it to be there. At least Valve is paying homage to the gamers that do appreciate RGB, and it's nice to be able to turn it off as well. And then packaged in that tiny small form factor case will be a 5.6 inch tall, 6.3 inch deep, and 6.10 inch wide case, and it will weigh about 5.7 pounds. So this thing is going to be small. I think on the Steam website they have it comparable to a banana, and based off those specs, it will be incredibly small and could fit in a lot of different places, or could be beneficial to those who don't have a lot of space for their gaming setup. So it's going to have an extremely small footprint that's kind of hard to compete on building a custom gaming PC, and that's included with the fact that the Steam machine will already have a cooling solution built inside, which we have to go on Valve's word until we can get them on hand, if we can get our hands on them. But Valve says that it's also going to run extremely quiet. So it's hard to compete with those two factors alone if you're building a custom gaming PC. But again, looking at those core specs, it's hard to imagine that we'll be able to capture 4K gaming at 60 FPS that Valve is initially marketing here, being that the R5 7600 is 6-core 12-thread CPU, while this is a custom version of it, and the RX 7600 is a decent GPU. Is it 4K capable? Not more than likely. And then you look at the games that do actually support FSR, they're far and few in between. So it looks like the Steam machine, at least initially, will be a solid 1080p, maybe even possibly 1440p gaming system that will compete with consoles. But we'll get to that here in a second. We're kind of jumping the gun a little bit, because one of the biggest issues with this announcement that many have pointed out, it's quite obvious, and that's Valve did not release the price points for any of their products, any of their upcoming in-home hardware for gamers, from the Steam frame to the Steam controller and even the Steam machine. Valve did say that we're going to get more details early in 2026, whatever that means, but I think most gamers wanted to see those price points so they can get an idea of what direction they might want to go in if they're considering, a Steam machine as a possible gaming platform to take advantage of the best of both worlds. Something we're going to touch on a little bit more, but the price is either shockingly high or surprisingly low. And given the dynamics of our economy right now, I'm going to say it's somewhere along the latter, the former than the latter. I think it's going to be slightly on the high side, and that's why Valve is trying to just prepare and embrace the community for the price reveal. But what that may look like is anybody's guess. With the base Xbox Series and Series SX, or just the Series XX altogether, and the PS5, the Steam machine could somewhere along the lines try to take market share, or what Valve could be possibly trying to do is get an early jump on the upcoming next generation console race, because in 2026 we will see the PS6. We will see the PS6 and the Xbox Series, whatever Microsoft decides, whatever nomenclature Microsoft comes up for the next generation Xbox. But one of the core selling points that the Steam machine will be able to do that the Xbox or the PS5 isn't capable of doing, and that's installing applications or PC applications and other software, and being able to install Windows as well on the Steam machine, are both selling points that are hard to compete if you're considering a console, or even with what Sony and Microsoft is able to design or draw up in 2026. And then there's the elephant in the room, the PC equivalent, if you're building a custom system comparable to the Steam machine. And it's difficult, it's challenging, being that the Steam machine has semi-custom parts and cut-down variants of their desktop counterparts. And so it's hard to quantify the cost of the Steam machine, being that Valve likely got a deal buying those parts in bundles, right? Buying those APUs in bundles. But if you're building a comparable PC with an RX 6700 and a Ryzen 5 7600, 16 gigabytes of DDR5, and a small form factor case and a power supply, then you're looking at a cost of between $800 to $900, depending if you're going with a 512 gigabyte SSD or a 2 terabyte SSD. That would affect the cost, but you're looking at somewhere between $800 to $900. And while that would make for a really solid gaming PC that you would have unlocked potential and the ability to upgrade your system, something that the Steam Machine in all likelihood will not be able to do, because if it could, then Valve most certainly would have included that in its marketing material. But being that it will be a custom PC with the hood nailed shut, you won't be able to upgrade it. So that's a benefit to investing in your long-term gaming experience if you build a desktop variant of it. But it's like going with the Steam Machine, you're taking advantage of the simplicity of the plug-and-play feature and not having to maintain the system outside of a few updates. So Valve has entered the console space, looking to compete with both Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in the next generation console race. The Steam Machine could potentially be an option or, a solution for gamers that want the best of both worlds in terms of a dedicated gaming platform, a versatile gaming platform, one that could fit in the confines of their living room or on their desk. Valve essentially says you can put it anywhere, and given its small footprint, given that small form factor cube that all of its goodies or all of its components are housed in, it certainly looked like you can essentially set it up and connect it anywhere. And with that, you would be able to take advantage of the flexibility and raw performance of a gaming PC and the low maintenance and simplicity of a console. Will the Steam Machine be for gamers that don't want to necessarily absorb the cost of a pre-built gaming PC, which are going for abnormally high prices, at least at the time of recording this video? And they typically do, being that the system integrator has to recoup building costs and labor costs and what have you. So they typically don't offer the best value, especially compared to the Steam Machine. But a bonus with going with the pre-built, again, is that it offers you the ability to upgrade it in small, make small changes, small upgrades to improve your overall performance. It's, again, something you won't be able to do on the Steam Machine outside of expanding your storage, similar to a console. So will it be for gamers that don't want to pay that trumped up price for a pre-built gaming PC? Or do they want more performance versus what most modern and affordable consoles have to offer? If I had to guess how much the Steam Machine would cost, or the Steam Machines, the 512 gigabyte variant and the 2 terabyte variant, I would say that it's going to cost somewhere between $699 and $799. Somewhere between, $700 to $800, being that the price difference between going with an additional 1.5 gigabytes of storage isn't that much of a difference, but I do see it falling along the lines in between that price range. Valve could leverage optimization to prepare gamers for a semi-annual release, very similar to the way consoles launch, right? Like we could possibly see a Steam Machine 2 in 2027 or 2028 that makes, hardware improvements, that offers faster GPU or faster CPU, combination of both, and higher storage, right? So just like consoles do. So yeah, that could be Valve's solution for gamers, with the argument that, hey, I won't be able to upgrade this down the road. It will eventually outgrow, modern games, and there'll be certain games that I won't be able to play. But yeah, Valve could prepare for a semi-annual release. Right now, the price to performance compared to a pre-built gaming PC favors the Steam Machine, but its price point will be the ultimate biggest deciding factor if that remains true. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. If you haven't yet, do me a favor and like this video and consider subscribing with the notification bell turned on. We're on our way to 5K. I've been on my way to 10K for what seems like forever. But if you want to join the community, I definitely welcome you to do so by hitting the subscribe button with the notification bell turned on, and check out some of the additional PC gaming content we have down in the description box below. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. I do hope to catch you on the next one. So until then, be easy.